The Wolf, the Rat, and the Snake by Russ Lee. Once there was a wolf who lived in a cave. Every night the wolf would leave his cave and go looking for dinner. Sometimes he found good things to eat, but other times he was not so lucky and came home hungry. Living in a hole in the floor of that very same cave was a rat. He also left his home every evening to look for his supper. But he was careful to leave after the wolf was gone, and always got in well before the wolf had come back from his hunt. One night the hunting was especially poor for the wolf, and he returned home early, still very hungry. He lay down on the floor and tried to go to sleep, ignoring his empty belly. The rat, on the other hand, had found some particularly tasty sunflower seeds and had eaten his fill. The seeds were so good, in fact, that he forgot all about the time. When the rat finally returned home, it was feeling fat and contented and didn't even notice that the wolf was already there. Not paying any attention at all, the rat rushed into the cave and ran smack into the wolf's nose. The surprised and famished wolf opens his eyes to see that, lo and behold, dinner had been delivered. But the rat was quick to recover and scampered out of the cave with the wolf hot on his tail. The rat ran up the hill and down the hill. It ran under a bush and around a big rock. It jumped over the creek and crawled under a log. But always the wolf was right behind. Just when the rat thought there was no escape, it spied a hole in the ground ahead. But the wolf was so close, the rat needed a diversion in order to reach the hole safely. The rodent ran straight for a nearby tree and at the last moment swerved away to the right and dived into the hole. The wolf, hot in pursuit, was unable to change direction in time and ran smack into the tree. By the time he had righted himself, the rat was in the hole and safe. The wolf was not ready to give up the chase, however. Dinner had been delivered to his door, and he was very, very hungry. So he started digging in the hole. The rat felt confident that it was safe from the wolf, for the hole was deep and windy. The wolf could dig from now and until next Tuesday, for all the rat cared, and it would never reach him. Besides, the rat knew that most all holes had a secret entrance somewhere. All it had to do was find it and make its escape. But then the rat heard a noise. It was very faint at first. Then the rat's nose told him the bitter truth. There was something moving in the hole below, something that sounded and smelled like a snake. What a fix to be in, a hungry wolf above and a cunning and hungry snake below. Whatever could the rat do? It certainly didn't want to go any deeper into the hole. The wolf, realizing that the rat was still near the surface, increased its digging with a fury. Soon it would reach the hapless rat, and dinner would be served. The snake, sensing something delectable above, was slowly but surely winding its way up the dark tunnel. The rat could hear the snake approaching just as the paws of the wolf became visible. If something didn't change soon, it would all be over in just a few seconds. As the snake drew closer, it opened its jaws ready to strike. At that last moment, the frantic rat pushed its feet against the walls of the tunnel with all its might. And lo and behold, one of the walls gave way and collapsed into an adjoining corridor, the rat following close behind. At that very moment, the wolf broke through and thrust its mouth into the hole, just as the snake struck, clamping its jaws down hard on living flesh. What it got was the wolf's nose. The wolf jerked its head out of the hole and bellowed with pain. The snake, too surprised to let go of its hold, hung on to the wolf's snout for dear life. The wolf ran around in circles, trying to loose himself from the painful appendage. He jerked his head wildly, hoping to shake off the snake. Nothing seemed to work. He ran up the hill. He ran down the hill. He ran under the bush and over the rock. He jumped over the creek and crawled under a log, all with no success. The astonished snake was simply not going to let go. With all this commotion going on, the rat seized the opportunity and sneaked out of the tunnel, finding his way home to the hole in the floor of the cave. Once inside, totally exhausted, he lay down and went to sleep. In the meantime, the wolf finally managed to rid himself of the snake by whipping it around the trunk of a small tree. The snake, now with other, more pressing matters to concern itself with, let go of the wolf's nose. Finally free, the bedraggled and sore-nosed wolf slowly found its way back to the cave and lay down. It was a hungry, sore, and sorry canine that passed the few remaining hours left in the night. Long story short, the wolf's nose eventually healed, but the wolf had an overwhelming fear of snakes ever afterward. For its part, the snake seemed to lose his taste for rat, and the rat made doubly sure that it was back in its hole in the floor of the cave every night, well before the wolf returned home from its hunt. The end.